AI will never replace the pure majesty of zombie takeout. In the immortal words of David Lee Roth, I heard you missed us. Well, we're back.
Hello again.
Hello and welcome to Zombie Takeout, the B-movie and cult movie show. I'm John.
And I'm Scotto.
And, well, for those watching on YouTube who aren't seeing us right now, quick explanation. They got rid of Hangouts on Air, which is how we were recording. We're looking into a couple other options, but also your studio, shall we say, is not fit for video at the moment, so...
Yeah. I might be moving studios next year anyway, but yeah, things have... A lot's happened. I can't believe it's only been 4 months, honestly.
Okay.
I really thought, like, we stopped back in March or something like that. And then I, like, looked back and I'm like, no, it's only been since June.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Likewise. By the way, if I stutter a bit or kind of stop talking, it's because I have an echo of myself. It's kind of throwing me off a little.
Oh.
Okay.
One of the things I should have posted while I was away was I went to San Francisco and actually visited the Bradbury
Nice.
building, which is actually open to the public.
Wow.
They let you walk in and go up the stairs and all that stuff from Blade Runner.
Nice.
And the video that we talked about back in that episode. I don't know how long ago that was. I think that was
probably like
7
March.
months ago. Yeah.
Because I think it was right after we finished the trilogy, the double trilogy we did right before my birthday.
And then I was trying to think of the last episode we recorded, and it was,
well, the last one we recorded didn't air.
That's complicated.
Yeah. The week before the first week of June was the last time a Zombie Takeout went out. The second week of June was when a hearing went out, because that episode of Zombie Takeout was an issue. So yeah, it's been since mid-June.
Yeah, and here we are.
And on Skype, because since it's audio, which is a whole nother adventure, doing that again. Real quick thing before we get to the movie, because who knows when we're going to be recording a TV show again. I've been doing an interesting thing with rewatches. Back on Unification Day, which for the non-brown coats is September 20th, the anniversary of the airing of the first episode of Firefly.
Oh, wow.
I decided I was going to do a rewatch because it had been a long time. But I don't do too well with binge rewatches.
Oh.
I watch like an episode or two and then I get bored.
Yeah.
And I kind of meander. So I had an idea. Happened to be a Friday. I said, what if I watch an episode a week at 8 o'clock on Friday nights? Just like I did back in 2002, except this time in the right order and including the 2 unaired episodes.
That sounds eccentric.
Well, I started it with Firefly.
Yeah.
Really interesting experience. It's because it's not a binge. It's not like, okay, this is going to take forever. The only show I can successfully binge is Stranger Things for some reason. But it's been a lot of fun. I think it was the Tuesday before I started that, I decided to try a Downton Abbey rewatch.
Oh, wow.
Although not technically a rewatch, because I don't even think I finished the first season when I first tried it the first time. I got sidetracked.
Yeah.
So I decided the following Sunday I was going to put Downton on, watch an episode of Downton every Sunday. Like a week or two later, I recommended Coupling to someone on Twitter, and then realized on a Saturday, I'm just going to do a weekly Coupling rewatch on Saturdays. So every Friday for the last few weeks, it's been... Well, every weekend, it's been Firefly on Saturday, Coupling on Saturday. Sorry, let me take that again. Firefly on Friday, Coupling on Saturday, Downton on every Sunday.
You are programming your own network of some sort.
It's been wonderful. It really gives me something to look forward to on the weekends.
Huh.
Because they're all brilliant shows.
I'm glad you're enjoying the Down. Have you ever seen the movie he did, Gosford Park, which is kind of...
Sounds familiar. Was it one of those, like, Merchant Ivory style things with...
It's kind of... It's a it's kind of where he jumped off from to get to Downton Abbey. I mean, they don't have anything to do with each other story-wise, but it's a very upstairs, downstairs
Yeah, it was the staff and I think I did see that. I enjoyed it from what I recall. Downton, I mean, it's very white, which fits the setting. I'm kind of annoyed that the one queer character is a piece of shit.
I like how he has his moments though, where and the movie they give him a pretty good storyline and addresses his homosexuality.
But beyond that, it's a brilliant show. The acting, of course, is amazing. I've gained a lot of respect for Elizabeth McGovern because she didn't really impress me back in the day.
Yeah, and they don't really give her all that much more than just being the sympathetic mom and stuff.
She's pulled off some interesting moments, though. Particularly when they had to hide the body, or move the body.
That is, when some people were talking about the realism or lack of realism in the movie, I was like, they kind of did that on the show. And of course, that was the episode. Like, I mean, if you were okay with the caper of the body, in there and just... I just like the history of it, though. I mean, it's kind of a cool look at just how people lived during that time and some of their attitudes. I mean, granted, there are a lot more progressive attitudes than they probably actually had,
right?
But still.
And I like how they're working the history in. Nice to see Egret in another role.
Like it goes from... Which one's Egret?
From Game of Thrones, the redhead.
Oh,
You Know Nothing, Jon Snow. It's the one who actually said, "You know nothing, Jon Snow."
That's right.
I think Rose is the character's name on Downton.
And I mean, they start like with the sinking of the Titanic. Just of course off stage. They didn't actually,
They don't have a budget for that,
right?
But whenever I watch it, I always flash back to Kevin Smith's line about the English inventing acting.
They take our jobs.
All right, finally, on to this week's movie, which is from 2018, Twisted Pair. Yes, we're coming back with a Neil Breen movie. We are officially back on our bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, that brings us to the impromptu plot summary, sponsored by Humanoid. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
And also brought to you by AI. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. All right, so I can't believe I've got to do this. All right, so we have a pair of twins, and they are abducted by aliens. The aliens...
Well, they're selected, not really abducted.
It pretty much suggests they are abducted. They're playing on the beach and then zapped.
Oh, that's true. We see them in the lab, yeah.
They're gone and they're brought into a lab and they are made into, well, he calls them humanoids, which of course means
anything
having
human-shaped.
An appearance or character resembling of a human.
Yeah, basically anything human-shaped is humanoid.
Right.
2 arms, 2 legs, a head.
So we're all humanoids, or have humanoid features.
Mm-hmm.
I think he means cyborg.
Perhaps, or android. Cyborg, I think, is probably more accurate.
Cyborg, I mean, if you're talking...
He's still part human, yeah.
Right. Organic and mechanical parts, so cyborg. But yeah, he insists on calling them humanoids for some reason. And AI, which, you know what? It's all right in front of us. Why didn't I think of this? I just thought of it now. This is a computer-written movie, isn't it?
Well, I've read a few computer-written stories, and yeah, it sounds like it.
That's what he's talking about, AI. It's the AI that wrote this. Because, I mean... And yet he keeps saying that AI isn't as good. Actually, he says a couple times, AI can't compete with nature, which suggests that regular intelligence is somehow better than artificial intelligence, yet the movie demonstrates that he is superior with his artificial intelligence over his...
And so it's all based on AI being a threat.
Right.
Although it's not really about AI, it's about an alien threat.
Well, yeah. And so I'm not sure where this is going to go. But we'll tune in for the sequel for that.
Yeah.
But anyway, one of the pair drops out of the program, and it's suggested that his powers are taken from him, and so he's an ordinary guy. He turns to drugs and alcohol, or just drugging and alcohol. I don't know. It was. He has a girlfriend though, and they have a weird relationship of divvying up drugs.
Yeah, a lot of violence between them, and then yeah.
Now, what didn't make any sense. One of the things that didn't make any sense was that the evil twin, who is into drugs and alcohol, and his girlfriend and their relationship, but at the same time went on this crusade against corruption and corrupt business people, yet he was somehow getting money for the drugs.
Yeah.
So there's that going on, but of course, if it's a Breen movie, you've got to have a Messiah-like main character, played by no one other than the man himself.
Having seen 2 Neil Breen movies now, he scares me a bit. If these are his power fantasies, he's a disturbing man.
If he didn't look like Gary Shandling and have the voice of Opie and Anthony's Club Soda Kenny, I would agree with you. But,
fair point.
Yeah. So he, of course, is he's the ultimate weapon. He leads troops into battle, just kind of walking in casually.
I think that might have been my favorite part.
The building blows up, and yet the troops somehow survive. But he goes on this thing against this evil mastermind who's going to take over the world by using programmable virtual reality.
It's programmable. Like,
has anybody ever been into a virtual reality thing that wasn't programmed?
Yeah. And apparently this alien villain also has a thing for fondling diamonds.
Now, I think let me translate Mr. Breen's thoughts here. I think he may have meant programmable reality.
Perhaps. There's also a line about programmable DNA, which is an interesting idea.
Right. He's talking about telepathy and programming DNA, which would program reality, I guess, or force people into a virtual reality without even knowing it. I don't even know what you would call that.
But then he also talks about a digital metaverse, a virtual metaverse, which is a little redundant because I looked it up. The whole idea of the metaverse is it's this idea of where the internet is going, where it's going to be all 3D and immersive and pervasive. If you were familiar with Ready Player One, that. So
it's like a Love Boat cruise ship kind of thing. I don't know.
It depends on what your particular part of the metaverse is. What you want your particular part of the metaverse to look like.
Right. I mean, wouldn't that just be the universe itself? Okay, just checking.
The line from Amazing Horse just popped into my head for those who are familiar.
All right, so right, he goes against the bad guys and easily takes them down. And then there's this weird thing where his girlfriend, which was another strange subplot that he, I don't know. It's like if you thought George Lucas was bad with handling human dialogue, just wait till you see a Neil Breen movie, baby.
There's also a very problematic scene with the girlfriend, I think, or unless again it depends on the interpretation.
I think they were together already.
Okay, it was just roleplay,
and it was just a roleplay thing.
Okay, that's like, the charitable interpretation, which I want to believe.
Because I mean, he turns and just says, "What's for dinner?"
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, "Oh, my parents called. You know, how are they doing?" Kind of thing. After they do this weird fight scene, which
apparently he bumps into her at this river walk, knocks some stuff out of her hand, helps her with it, insists that he take her out to a drink. She says, "I have a boyfriend." Gets a little creepy there. waits there at 8. She's not there. And then a couple of scenes later, oh, there's that woman I ran into. And he breaks into her house. And he doesn't really break into, he just walks in.
Yeah.
And then they get into a fight. And then it's, hi, honey, I'm home.
And then, they have this thing where she turns on him, or had turned on him in the first place.
She's working for the diamond fondling alien.
She's one of them, is what they say. They don't really specify who. I mean,
Kuz is the alien's name.
Kuz, really? I mean, you really put the name Kuz. Anyway.
The brother was named Kale. I know it was spelled with a C, but I made a point of spelling it with a K in my notes.
Yeah. But, so they have this thing where they turn on each other, and then hilarity ensued from the beginning of this, honestly. Yeah. But I would say some sort of pinkish purple light and green screen ensued.
And some chick in like sequin disco butterfly wear.
I forgot about that part. Yes, to the stripper Tinkerbell. I don't know.
Yeah. So hilarity ensues.
Hilarity ensues.
And it opens with this music that reminds me a lot of the old Dianetics ads.
Yeah.
I actually had to pick up one of my ukuleles and figure out how to play it. It just amused me that much. And then we get a huge stock footage alert.
You mean the entire film?
Well, particularly the beginning with the voiceover. And then when they get selected, it freezes of this shot in the middle of the scene of the two kids on the beach. I thought my copy was broken. Happened to you too, right? It wasn't just a broken copy. It froze. It froze there for a minute.
That's how we did it.
Yeah, it froze there for a minute. Okay. And then there's this this light comes out and apparently abducts them or selects them or whatever, and we get this outline of this incredibly creepy giant robot face in the sky that reminds me a lot of Ultraman.
Right. That's how the movie ends too, by the way.
Yeah, with Ultraman face. Are you familiar at all with the webcomic called Axe Cop?
No.
It's written by like a 6-year-old and drawn by his older brother. So it's, there's dinosaurs and it's Axe Cop, but it's that kind of thing, but but drawn by a fairly skilled adult.
Right.
This is like if the kid who wrote Axe Cop also did the drawings, but as an adult in the same way.
I think when we did Twisted Pair, I brought up that it is very,
You mean
pre-adolescent.
The last Breen film, Fatal Findings.
Fatal Findings, right. Oh, you're right.
Fateful Findings.
Fateful Findings, yeah.
That
it was very pre-adolescent, whole, secrets, and I have powers.
Right. It carries over to this one. Speaking of pre-adolescent behavior, apparently Cade and Cal dress alike as adults. Because you see them walking through this virtual forest. If you've ever seen Crystal Song Forest in WoW for the WoW players, it looks a lot like that. And then when the light comes down and abducts them, but they're dressed exactly alike. And it's not like he repeated the footage. He shot himself walking twice. To be the both twins. He just didn't think of changing his wardrobe.
I thought one was wearing a hoodie.
No, that's later. Every other scene, they're different. He's got the beard.
Okay.
But the first time we see them, he just shot himself walking twice in the same clothes to represent both twins.
I get it. Because they're still together then. And so they're dressing the same. Did one have a beard at least, or was
no?
One...
In the beginning, both were clean shaven. It was just it's Neil Breen. He made no effort to differentiate himself until we see Cal later with the beard and the hoodie. And apparently, it's one of these superhero situations where they always wear the same thing.
Yeah.
And this kind of made me think about B movies in general, bad movies, I should say, because when Sharknado was happening. A lot of people were claiming that, it wasn't good because it wasn't a good bad movie because it was intentional.
Yeah.
You can't have an enjoyable bad movie if it's intentional.
That's not true, though.
Well, I mean, I'm a fan of the Sharknado.
Right.
You really liked a couple of them, and it's and there's certainly an argument to be made there. But in Breen's case, but first off, the room, yeah, that doesn't really work if it's intentional.
Right.
That has to be an accident. In Breen's case, I almost feel like he has to be in on the joke for this to be enjoyable.
I don't know. I mean,
because if Breen's not in on the joke, we may very well be mocking someone with a developmental disorder.
I think I said this is very, very same statement when we did Fateful Findings. I believe I said, I used this directly, the R word, but not using the R word.
Right. which I'm not okay with, mocking someone with a developmental disorder. But so I'm choosing to believe the Brain is in on the joke, and he's doing this all brilliantly and intentionally, because it still works if he's in on the joke.
I think it's fun to leave it,
No, he can't say. I mean, he's got to leave it open either way.
He plays it up though. Like I saw something online where he does like a Q&A, and he's going on about how much all of the movie costs and how the script was written and professionally. He does seem fairly
intelligent when he speaks.
And I mean, I don't know. Do you think he just the mistakes he makes?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you would make them purposely.
Yeah, true. I don't know. That's something to be determined later, I suppose. Maybe. Back to the movie. So this superior alien force, which he just kind of calls the Force.
Yes.
I racked my brain for a Force joke for a title, but I couldn't think of anything. Oh, apparently it's using human doctors in hospitals to upgrade him. Because
right.
We see him in a hospital in scrubs with this like touch screen and kind of directing what they're going to do to him.
So it's like stock footage of doctors working on stuff,
mm-hmm.
and he green screens himself next to them. Oh, it's so good. It is so good.
And then he green screens himself next to a hawk for no apparent reason. He goes on this whole tangent about how nature is better.
Right.
And we see him kind of green screen next to a hawk. At one point, he looked like he was going to kiss the hawk.
Yeah. And then he's caressing, but he didn't line anything up.
No, of course.
So it looks like he must have thought he was caressing the bird, but it's really like the stand or the tree below the bird
mm-hmm.
that his head's at.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So funny.
And his green screen jumps are the best thing ever.
And honestly, you have to see this in a theater with a bunch of people where every effect going, whoa!
This is made to be a midnight movie.
Oh yeah, he says that he specifically said they're not supposed to be midnight movies either, but that is totally a lie, because I mean there is just no greater experience than everybody coming in and knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
And just seeing this whole thing and reacting to every stupid effect and just being like they were blown away.
Mm-hmm.
It really is just the most fun you're ever going to have.
And it's an odd film because he mixes this ridiculous superhuman spy story with occasional moments of very reasonable, if cliche, commentary on the future of the internet.
I don't even know. Was he talking about the future of the internet, or was he talking about, I mean, he gets into this, at least for Fateful Findings,
mm-hmm.
I mean, he gets into this thing about corruption and punishing the corrupt.
He likes his conspiracy theories. Yeah, that's a common theme between these two and probably all of his films, I'm going to venture to guess.
But, man, the action scenes... It's like something out of a Woody Allen movie of just him just kind of like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm just going to here to, save the day.
He just kind of does this feeble little hop, and then with the green screen lifts himself up to where he needs to be.
Oh, like the stuff that the original Superman movie
mm-hmm.
had better green screen than his whoosh.
I just have to put this out there because your title was better, but I gotta mention one of my favorite of my titles, Green Screen Breen.
Yeah.
And then we're on to the scene that you wanted to use for your sponsor.
Oh my god!
In the boardroom.
This has to be the greatest scene ever shot in cinematic history. Because it's just people saying words. It could be the funniest thing I've ever seen. I mean...
And just shouting them. They're like, there's no direction. It's just shout your line.
Right. They are just taking turns shouting things and not even... I don't think anybody actually has a conversation in this movie, actually. I think they just kind of yell things in the other people's general directions. But this scene had 6 people yelling things.
Picture a bunch of old, grizzled comedians. Elderly comedians sitting around a table just yelling insults and complaints that have nothing to do with each other.
It's not even insults and complaints.
But I'm saying that's the tone of the scene.
Okay, that's
picture that, and then
only
throw
they're
in,
yelling his sci-fi gibberish at them.
Change the insults and complaints to sci-fi word salad, to mention another one of my titles, and that's this scene. There's no cohesion to it or anything.
They're just saying things, and at the end it was, the Department of Homeland Security is... It's like, okay, why are they meeting at this place that doesn't even have lights on? Why is the government having this meeting and they can't turn the lights on?
And much like the cancer scene in the room, it doesn't connect to anything else. Those characters are never seen again.
That's true. That scene has nothing going on. I mean, they've already given him the assignment as to who they're trying to stop and what he's trying to do. It is just kind of a random Greek chorus that's talking about another play. I don't know. Which now I wish I hadn't said that out loud, because that's a fucking brilliant idea to do for comedy, to have a Greek chorus just walk in and start talking about some other show that's unrelated to the show that you're watching, and everyone's like, wait, what the fuck are they talking about?
Funny thing happened on the way to the movie.
Yeah.
Ended up in the wrong one. And then we have the creepy, violent incel, weird roleplay scene. And then it gets disturbingly dark.
Yeah, the movie theater got very uncomfortable when that scene where they were doing this roleplay thing. Kind of like, what? Neil?
Yeah. Kind of ruined the rest of the movie for me. And once I realized, maybe it was a roleplay thing, I actually had to rewatch some of it with that in mind, so I just wasn't hating it all. But even after that, we get into Kale's subplot, where he's killing a bunch of people, and that even gets disturbingly dark.
It would, except, first off, the blood spatter on the walls are so obviously, painted in.
Neil Breen.
And then... Another great part about this movie is the use of effects. The gun shooting, the fake flame coming out of it,
right?
And then, of course, no visible impact of the gunshot on bodies ever. Well,
all of the explosion effects just kind of hover.
Oh my god, they're so funny!
It's first time you've ever used After Effects sort of stuff. No,
I mean, Monty Python and How Not to Be Seen had better production value.
Yeah.
Than this guy's movie. And did he make those cuffs out of paper clips?
I think so.
They're just wearing these big thick paper clips around their necks and hands, and it can obviously be bent.
And then there's this random scene where he's out with the girlfriend, and he says he rented an entire restaurant just for the two of them.
He's at the student center.
Oh, okay, yes.
You haven't mentioned the whole place.
90% of it's shot in a college.
Is shot on a college after hours.
Yeah.
And, oh my god, which is probably one of my favorite parts of the movie, is just him using the exterior shots of the rooms for exterior shots.
Yeah.
It's obviously a classroom or a lab or a lecture hall.
Right.
And then you open that door, and there you are in that computer room, lab, or lecture hall. I was like, oh my god, you're shooting a film, man. You can use any exterior shot you want.
And I'm just with the renting out the restaurant. All I could think is, way to piss off the staff. When you get an entire restaurant for 2 people.
But I mean, but then the thing was, it wasn't a restaurant at all.
Well, no, of course.
And then he was giving her a present, like
of a candle.
Yeah,
a little votive candle.
Yeah, none of that could have made the least sense of all the whole movie. Actually, him trying to be charming, it's invincible. What? Oh, okay.
And then good Cade, the good twin, and Kale, the evil twin, meet up after Kale has grown his beard.
Easy to remember.
Actually, oddly enough, as a vegetarian, I've never had it.
Really? Oddly enough, as a carnivore, I've eaten quite a bit of it.
So they meet up, and apparently, he basically gives them the whole "you've changed" speech. And I don't know who you are anymore.
He gets it a couple times. Like, I don't, like, what's become of you? Kind of thing. Or I don't know. I can't remember the exact way.
Yeah.
What has happened to you?
And in the scene after that, we have Cade looking into the mirror.
He loves that mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Because he used that in Fateful Findings also.
Oh, okay. And in that scene,
same fucking shot.
He sees him in the mirror. He sees himself, changing.
Yeah.
And I swear his shirt's inside out. He's wearing a Henley. You can see the tag on the back. It looks like the buttons are facing inward. His shirt was inside out.
Actually, another one of my favorite effects that he uses for anytime there's a murder, when Cal murders somebody, and he has a stock footage of the police cars. It looks, and then he goes to the shot of the body. It looks like they've been murdered in a disco because the lights are just like flashing in these crazy random patterns of blue and red. I think I might have been making disco sounds in the movie theater now that I think about it.
And speaking of disco, now they introduce the villain, Kuz, the alien, who has a thing for fondling. I have here a bowl of fucking crystals, but then I realized that they're diamonds.
Diamonds. Yeah, it would have been better if it was crystals for our purposes, of course. What do you think about his voice? Andre the Giant?
Yeah, or he has an effect that deepens his voice.
Or was that a David Lynch Twin Peaks thing?
I think that's probably more it. And he's never mentioned before this point in the movie, and we're like at the halfway mark here.
Right. They finally say, we need a villain.
And one scene, Cade is on his side, is fighting him. Next scene, it looks like Cade is on his side. Next scene is fighting him. And apparently, Kuz invented the portraits from Harry Potter because there's a mention of artwork, and there's this painting that moves. His people invented the Harry Potter portraits.
Well, I think he sent to infiltrate.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Because at one point he says, I want to know more about your global takeover plans. Sounds like you have the resources, we can help you.
Right, and none of it makes any sense because he already knows all this stuff of his plans, and then he doesn't actually do anything with his trust, to actually catch him. And then I think Kuz actually winds up somehow tricking him by doing the Luke Skywalker holographic disappearance act. And yeah.
And at one point when he's trying to stop Kuz, he sneaks into supposedly a laboratory science classroom.
Oh my god, that's so fucking funny. I mean, just the periodic table on the wall.
And in one shot, the list on the window.
The inventory list of a lab.
That made no sense. I have a list/shopping list. Inventory/shopping list. I didn't know what it was, but yeah. And then we have this random chicken lingerie. With a red light on. Apparently, Cale went to see a sex worker, maybe? It doesn't connect to anything. And what happened to the cop who was investigating the vigilante killings?
You're right. I forgot all about that. That never happens.
Gets completely dropped.
Yeah.
He stops Kuz, and there's still like a half hour left. And then Cal, for some reason, knifes the homeless, whatever's in the homeless guy's pocket. The homeless guy was there when he bumped into his girlfriend before they fought. And now comes back, and apparently the homeless guy has something important in his pocket, and Cal knifes it.
And that has no reaction to the stabbing.
No, he just sits there. Because it doesn't actually go into his leg, it goes into this rectangular thing in his pocket.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it was a pile of money or what. And throughout the movie, we see these henchmen who work for Coos, apparently, in gas masks. I kept waiting for one of them to ask Kate if he's their mummy.
Yeah, they're using gear from World War One that I guess Breen just somehow found.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it was a Doctor Who reference.
Did you also notice the artificial intelligence, the AI humanoid, who's genetically superior, couldn't actually get his change in the jar?
Right.
The cyborg can't miss the jar. He throws the homeless guy change, and a few of it don't actually make it.
Right. And then we get to what I'm sure Breen thought was a brilliant twist. His girlfriend is working for Coos. She's one of them. He gets home, does the hi honey I'm home thing, turns around to take his coat off. She holds a gun. She's got a gun to him. He slowly turns around, again to kind of put his hands up. He pulls out a gun. He turns slowly toward her. Why didn't she just shoot him when she saw the gun?
Didn't she wind up shooting him? They shoot each other at the same time, don't they?
No. It's not a special edition situation. He turns with the gun and he just shoots her.
I could have sworn
she did not fire.
Each other.
If she fired, it would have made sense.
And he's just, immune to bullets and all that.
No, she did not. I did not see her fire. He just shot her and killed her. And then we get, again, possibly the creepiest moment in the movie, which is saying something. We have that backlit shot of Cade's face, from like a bust of Cade.
Yeah.
With the alien. And I swear it looked like they were going to kiss for a minute. And also, again, like I said, virtual metaverse redundant. It's just, and then we get this arrogant closer about the superhero line of whenever the world needs me, I'll be there.
Well, did he do a movie called I'll Be Right Here?
I think so.
Yeah.
Did you happen to take a look at the credits?
Yeah.
At the end of the credits, it says, quote, any of the companies in the credits with an N or a B in their name are associated with Neil Breen Films, LLC. There's only one company in the credits that didn't apply to, Spectre Films, who did the sound recording and effects. Breen did everything else himself.
Of course. You'd expect nothing less.
And, of course, it closes with a shot of the twins just looking creepy as hell.
Yeah. It's funny, like, of course, anytime he did the split screen, it was just so terrible. Mm-hmm. But if you notice, even when he did shots of two people together that weren't, like, green screened, like, that wasn't even good either. Mm-hmm. Like, framing the shot of two people and looking at each other and having a conversation or something, he couldn't even get that right. So, of course, if he green screened, it's gonna be bad.
And then, right before the credits, we get the sequel. It's not sequels and remakes.
Of course.
Kate Altair will return, it says.
Of course. And then somebody acted like that was news that he revealed that there was going to be a sequel. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yes, he says that at the end of the film.
This is an origin story.
Yeah.
And Cade's last name is one of two things I legitimately have to give Breen credit for his cleverness.
What?
Altair, old computer. It's the brand name of an old computer.
Oh, okay.
That was clever. Also, the title of the film, Twisted Pair. It's an audio reference.
Yeah.
A Twisted Pair is an audio cable, basically an XLR cable with a crossover.
Although I really thought it was somebody getting their nuts squeezed.
That was clever, so I got to give him credit for that. On the brains?
On the brains.
I'm going to be generous and give him the benefit of the doubt on the role play thing. Beyond that, it's a Neil Breen movie. It's a 5.
Yeah, this is a 5. I mean, this is just... I mean, you got to know what you're getting into.
Of course.
You know, there's a reason why people are lining up for like around the block to get into movie theaters to see this late at night. You got to see it. It's hilarious.
It would just be so sad if he thinks that people think that they're actually legit good.
It's tough to say.
He's got to be in on it.
He's got to be in on it.
All right, so what have we learned?
Even a fully advanced group with all the power, advanced power, they don't even have Windows 10 yet.
And I learned that you could hold actual virtual reality, granted the corrupted type, in the palm of your hand. Not a device that does virtual reality, actual virtual reality.
Would you want to put it on your eyes? I don't know.
All right, that's it for Twisted Power. Until next time, when we'll be reviewing Saturday the 14th, which is not the movie I thought it was. I was thinking of Student Bodies when I suggested this, but you saw it when you were very young.
It has been 40 years since I've seen this about.
It's going to be very interesting. It's a horror parody starring Richard Benjamin and Paula Prentice, and if you're our age, you know what that means.
Yeah.
All right. I forgot how to end the show. I guess I'll just go to the line. All right, that's it for this week. Until next time. Until you always remember, never forget, wherever you go in life, there you are.
There you are.